Hey guys, good evening. So it is day 2 of Art Sound Off. I have it pulled up here, and day 2 is notebooks. So you guys can see I have quite a spread. Since it said notebooks, I figured that left it kind of open-ended. So I wanted to share some of my planners, sketchbooks, and notebooks that I use to help me create some of the art that I create. So we're going to kind of start at the top and work our way down. First, we have little watercolor sketchbooks. I use these for everything from sketches and some field tests to watercolor swatches and doodles. And the little orange flags in this one are to indicate which illustrations are in here that I still need to work on. And I'm really bad about starting new notebooks, sometimes new sketchbooks, before I finish the old one. So I like these Canson XL watercolor sketchbooks because they're pretty affordable. You can find them almost anywhere. Some Walmarts even have them. And they work decently well. They're not the best watercolor paper, but they're very affordable. They're very accessible, so I don't get precious about it. That's a big thing for me with diaries, sketchbooks, notebooks, is it can't be nice. It needs to be accessible, because otherwise I start getting kind of anxious about, like, oh, the art or the writing inside needs to match with the cover, right? So I am not a nice notebook person. I am a usable notebook person. So I also have my completed Inktober 2009 notebook. It is a Strathmore visual journal with the 500 series mixed media paper inside, and this is the cotton paper. And I really like this paper because it has a bit of a tooth since it's vellum, so it takes ink really, really well. It also takes pencil decently well. I also have here a stack of like Post-it notes, and these are all thumbnails from my Inktober. So I have like 20 of them, and I saved them because I thought it was neat that I was doing so many thumbnails for these. And the reason I like Post-it notes instead of doing these in a sketchbook is I can do my thumbnail and then stick it on the cover of my notebook as like a visual reminder, because as I've told you guys in other videos, I'm ADHD, so the more things I can do to remind myself and to help me stay focused, the better. Kind of more along the lines of what they might have meant by notebook is my sketchbook. I haven't had as much time to work in my sketchbook this year as I would like, but it really is just a sketchbook. There's lots of loose, unfinished sketches, concepts, doodles, and ideas. It's really just a place for me to think. I don't worry too much about doing perfect or even good art in here. Even there, you see I have some Post-it notes. So it just kind of contains a hodgepodge of things. And the Post-it notes are to tell me which images to scan for my art nerds on Patreon, because when I have time, I like to do monthly sketchbooks for my patrons. So another notebook, sketchbook I have is a Mossery sketchbook. Now, I do think these are overpriced, but I have a couple of them because they do collaborations with artists, and I have a Mayoko collaboration as well. So it's the mixed media sketchbook, and it's not the best at anything. It's kind of mediocre at everything, but as you guys can see, I've used it a fair amount. And another thing I have that they might consider a notebook are my watercolor swatches, and I also have a book of alcohol marker swatches over here. So this was actually an idea my friend Allie shared with me, where you create a small watercolor sketchbook with swatches of all the watercolors you own, so you don't buy duplicates at the store. So I have it sorted by brands. And it's small enough that it's purse size, if I ever remember to grab it before I go to the art supply store. And then the Copic one, this is an older one. I actually need to buy a new one because you can see I've filled it up with my Prismacolors and with Blick Studio markers. Just any markers that I regularly use will go in here. And another thing I have that might fulfill the notebook requirement is my planner and my scheduler. I use this when I am planning all kinds of different things, from classes to, let me see, content. And I even do little doodles in it. So this was the month of July. So anything you see in red is content I had scheduled for the YouTube channel. Anything you see in blue is content I'd scheduled for my blog. And then classes were denoted with like sticky notes. I've started working on my December already, so a lot of comic content is going to go live. And then finally, up here on the screen, when I'm recording videos, when I'm recording reviews, I take notes in a notepad, and sometimes I'll write my scripts for videos in a notepad. I'm not doing that tonight. So I have all kinds of like these are reasons why you might want to support my Patreon. This is, I'm kind of working on a comic artist starter kit post and a watercolor illustrator starter kit post. Notes about the Albrecht Dürer watercolor markers. Notes about the same markers again. So I actually utilize a lot of sketchbooks, planners, and notepads, a lot of different media to help me create all the things that I create, because I make comics, I record tutorials, I record reviews, I write tutorials, I write reviews, and then I teach and do demonstrations. So I do a lot of things. I'm pretty busy. So having these sort of organizational tools is really important for me to be able to do everything that I do. And I actually have a video, I think, where I talk about the different sort of planners and stuff I use, and that's in my Life with ADHD series. So I'll try to drop a link to that, because I know a lot of you guys are also ADHD and you're also looking for ways to kind of organize your creative life. I also have a Discord channel, Notes to Self, where I send myself notes and messages, and this is handy because I can do this from my phone, so I'll often use this as like a cheap way to send myself images if I want to use them for a blog post and I need them off my phone. So that could also count as a notepad in and of itself. So hopefully this has been interesting for you guys. Hopefully you guys maybe picked up some ideas for ways you can organize your life, or give yourself permission to utilize methods that might work better for you. In the end, what's most important is finding things that work for you and for your process and how you do things. My fiance uses Google Calendar for scheduling things, and that works really well for him. I like having this physical book that I can flip through and write down, because I put important things like appointments and stuff in this book here, but it's mostly for scheduling blog posts and YouTube content. And I don't want that cluttering up like a Google Calendar, but I do want it like visually in front of me when I'm planning additional content or I'm scheduling physical classes. So there's all sorts of different ways that you can organize and manage your time. And what's most important is finding something that works for you. And there's all sorts of different ways that you can organize and manage your ideas as well. So I'm not going to show it in this video because I don't have it handy, but I have lots of tutorials where I talk about planning and organizing my comic work and my comic process. So you guys should check those out. I'll link those as well if you're interested in something that's more comic related, like comic specific, comic related. Anyway, that was my art sound off for day 2. It's a little bit late because I was busy working on a watercolor commission, and I needed the desk and I needed my camera for that. So let me know in the comments below if you guys use anything different from what I use to stay organized and to help you plan your projects. And how do you divvy up your time? Do you use the Pomodoro method? Do you write a list and you just work your way through your list? Let me know how you organize your time. And I'll see you guys tomorrow with our next prompt challenges. All right. Bye, guys.